I posted it and I just like went to bed. And I woke up the next day and I had like 200,000 views. I was like, whoa, this is cool. People are seeing my stuff. This is the first time I've ever seen this many views. And I was just like looking around my apartment during the entire pandemic, figuring out like, how can I use this as a prop in my photo? And I would try and come up with something every 2 days.
Welcome to Out of Frame, a Nerdy Filmmaker podcast, where I sit down with actors and creators from across the entertainment industry, discussing the successes and struggles within their stories. My name is Julian Stamboulieh, aka the Nerdy Filmmaker, and today we are joined by Keegan, a sound recordist, musician, and content creator whose life and career changed entirely when he discovered firsthand the power of social media's most prized gift to humanity, puppy videos. Rolling. Thank you for the clap, Keegan.
You're welcome. As a seasoned veteran in the entertainment industry.
Keegan, thanks for joining us today. Thank you for bringing me a coffee on your way here.
Oh, my pleasure.
It's a delicious oat milk latte.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to make my mouth a little pasty. But
That's why we have the glass of water.
You also poured me a glass of water, which I also appreciate.
But it's from your water jug, so I appreciate it.
Don't talk about my water jugs on the podcast, please. I've known you for a few years now. The first time we met was working together on a set. But before we get to that, I would love to know about your background. Where did you start? Where were you born? Where were you an infant?
I grew up in Windsor, Ontario. I grew up there for 20 years. Windsor, Ontario is a very small city. I grew up in a smaller town next to it. So I grew up as like a little suburban neighborhood. Pretty simple, I guess, life.
Worry-free.
Yeah, that's the right term. Yeah, exactly. Worry-free. I'm gonna remember that. Played a lot of music as a child growing up. I started playing piano at the age of, I think, 6-7 years old, and that was like pretty much the basis of my entire youth. Like playing music, playing piano, singing. So that essentially set the base of my entire life up to a couple of years ago, which I guess we'll get to later. Because now I'm a dog photographer. Spoiler. but so yeah, I grew up playing music all through high school. Like those were my favorite classes, et cetera, et cetera. I went to am I skipping a lot? So I'm in university at this point.
Well, at that point, did you think that music was the direction that you were going to be going in as a career?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I thought I'd be a musician my entire life. I am still a musician because I know. I just don't. I know how to play it. I grew up like that. I identify still as a musician, but like, I just don't do it much anymore. Like I'll sit down and play a piano for myself just to have fun once in a while as a hobby, more or less now. But yeah. So that was a question. The music.
That was a question, and you answered it.
Like, great.
You answered it well.
Probably. Well, okay, good. At that point, like maybe later in high school, I actually wanted to be a cinematographer. Like I really wanted to, grade 12, I was applying for a cinematography program, undergrad program at Ryerson in Toronto. I ended up not sending in the application, and I ended up staying back in high school an extra year because I had no freaking clue what I wanted to do. Like, I mean, that's the issue I think with everyone these days. Is like you're in grade 12, you're like, I think I know where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do. Like I thought I wanted to be a cinematographer. So weird. Like playing music my entire life in grade 11 and 12, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do cinematography. I just want to do this. I don't know. Like I don't know where that came from. But yeah, so I was like, I don't know what I want to do, and maybe I should stay in music because I've been doing this my entire life. Like I don't know what I'm doing, so I stayed back in high school for a 5th year, so grade 13, if you want to call it that, or like.
I didn't know such a thing existed.
I don't know what it's like in Quebec, but in Ontario you can stay for a 5th. Well, you used to be able to. I'm not sure what it's like.
So yeah, here we have CEGEP.
Yeah.
Right.
You have that extra year.
We have, it's 2 years. So we have, high school goes till grade 11, and then we have 2 years of CEGEP, which is, halfway, obviously, between high school and university. And it's during that time that a lot of people find out what they want to do, or sometimes what they don't want to do.
Right. But okay, so Should I continue?
Yeah,
the story?
please. We've tangented long enough.
That's all right. That's the point of a podcast, I think. So yeah, 13th year, I ended up teaching a couple of music classes in my 13th year, and I was like all music. So I took that year. I practiced piano a lot, and I practiced with the goal of getting into university. But I had an extended goal. I had a further goal because I knew that McGill University had this sound recording master's program, and I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do now. I decided like late grade 12, that's what I want to do, mid grade 12, whatever. And so I called like the faculty, the teachers, the profs, and she was like, just become the best musician you can ever be. Oh. That was the advice I got, Martha DeFrancisco. And so that's what I decided. That's what I did. I went into university and I became the best musician that my mind would allow. Which I don't think was the most amazing. I say it that way because I really feel like people's brains are wired for that certain thing, right? You know, when I am far from like knowledgeable in this area, but neuroplasticity, things like that. I think people are more apt to connecting neurons in their brains by practicing more and more. Like I don't know if everybody has that ability. As like, you know, some people have the ability to practice 8 hours a day and connect these neurons as they're practicing. That's what you're doing when you're repeating. At least in my opinion, that's what I think it is. But anyways, so I became the best musician I could, and I got into the master's program. I did that, and I was like, this is now I'm on the right track. This is what I want to do. And then that's how I kind of ended up in the film industry after graduating from the master's program.
And so the sound recording that you were taking, was it in university, was it specifically for music sound recording?
Yeah. So the reason you want to become such a good musician before entering this specific program at McGill is because they take classical musicians, because you're going in and you're recording jazz orchestras, classical orchestras, you know, quartets, like small ensembles, like classical and jazz music, essentially. And then you also learn pop, and if you like metal and you want to learn to record a metal band, you can do that.
No.
A little bit of film orchestra recording, like film score recording, things like that, and also editing to film. So that program was great for me to get a general idea of the film industry a little bit, kind of like, you know, dip your toes in a little.
And so when you came out of university, first off, did you feel fully equipped for what you were about to do?
No. I thought so.
Was there like a realization moment, a slap in the face at some point?
Man. Like, well, actually, yeah, definitely got some slaps in the face. Like, you come out of your master's program. Most of the time you come out of master's, you're like, I know everything. I've spent 2 straight years of my life focusing on this specific thing, and I understand it so well, and I can talk to people and tell people. But then you get in. So in my case, I jumped from that to going to recording film on sets as a boom operator. Not even working the mixing console or the recording consoles. I was literally holding the boom pole next to the actors, my arms shaking like this. I'm like, I can't even hold it up. And that was like the film industry, man. When you get in there and you don't know anything about it, it's not easy. It's rough. It's a shock. It's a shock. You know, just the people in it, the pace of the film industry. When you get into like big budget, not big, like whatever, $1-2 million productions. I used to go to Sudbury, Ontario to be a boom op, and it was a great experience getting in there, but you get kicked in the ass like really quickly.
What was your first job, and who were you working alongside if you were boom opping for a mixer?
Yeah, so a few different mixers, sound mixers, and yeah, most were good, actually, all but one. Just one, you know, you're usually paired up. Some sound mixers have boom ops that they like to work with because they get along, right? And then when they get along, they record great results and everyone's happy. most of the time that happened because I feel like I'm generally able to get along with many people. But
You're enjoyable.
thank you. I appreciate that. I pride myself on that, I think, definitely. But there was just one sound mixer that I just couldn't relate to in any way. I think he may have thought I was, like, I came out of the Masters, I knew a lot. He also knew a lot, but some different things. And there was just a little bit of a clash. Like I was like, no, there were ways that I thought things should be done and ways that he thought things should be done, and they were completely different. And as a boom op, I am supposed to just do exactly what they say, but I'm hard-headed. So I don't know. I'm not good at taking direction. I'm just like,
I remember.
Yeah, right? I know. Like, this is the way. Well, see, that's why I bought all that kit and started working as my own. Like, I was the boom op, the mixer, I was everything, so that I didn't really have to take any direction. I was like, no, I'm going to do this myself.
Yeah, because so we ended up working together for the first time on Dystonia. Yeah. Which was a film written by Kenny Wong that I was brought on to direct, a short film.
In fact, the kit that I bought was for that. Well, like that was the first big gig I had with that kit.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You're welcome. What exactly is it about sound recording that drew you to that, other than the fact that you did it in university?
I think what drew me mostly to that was just like not sitting at a desk and working. And because I can't do that. And I just like, it was just a couple of connections that got me into that industry. Like my uncle knew the person running these productions, like the producer. So it was a very quick and easy connection. I was like, okay, well, this opportunity is here. The money's great because I just got out of my master's and like I'm gonna make some money doing this. Long days though, so it's great money, but it's intense long days, like 11-hour days, sometimes like 12-hour days. You know, film sets. And that's like 5 days a week for like a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever.
Because I think that there's maybe 3 roles on set or on a production that is always heavily in demand.
Yeah.
Because there's always a shortage.
Sound,
color. That might be it.
Maybe, yeah.
Everyone else is always is
take the jobs.
Take whatever job because it's like struggling for jobs kind of thing. And
well, those are very like sound and color. You're talking color correction?
Color correction, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know about color correction, but when it comes to sound, it's color correction too is a very technical job. It's a very heavily skill-based job, and it takes a few years to get into or more. So these people are in demand and less. Like, there are a lot of jobs on film sets I find that are, one person can like switch, and like they're interchangeable a little bit. Like a person can do multiple jobs, right? But you can't just put anybody on sound.
Especially on my sets. I have people doing 4 jobs on my sets.
There you go. Perfect. Except for the sound. Well, maybe. Who knows?
The sound is the one that I'll never. Actually, we shot a fan film late last year. 36 hours before the shoot, 3 of our 6 crew members, it was very, very small crew. 3 of our 6 crew members got sick. And this was during COVID. So even if they weren't testing positive, we had to be really, really safe. Yeah. And they were the only 3 involved in the entire production that could have gotten sick. Our DP got sick on the first day, so I directed and DP'd. And then our behind the scenes photographer got sick, so we got someone for that, and the art director got sick. So I was working on that with Fred Nguyen and Carlo Mastroni, and like the 3 of us were also doing the art. We picked up all the costumes and stuff from her the night before. But I was just like, sound and makeup, I'm not touching those.
No way.
Someone else is going to be dealing with that.
Yeah.
And
you can't put anyone on that solo sound mixers. No, nothing.
And at any point throughout the process of your sound recording on sets, were there moments in there where you had kind of had a realization that this was maybe not for you? Was there ever a moment where it actually wasn't for you before you switched into your new career?
Yeah. It became very cutthroat in the industry, especially in those mid budget productions in Sudbury, like Northern Ontario. There's a lot of film being shot there. A lot of opportunity, but also like it was cutthroat. Some of the people would just like very short fuses. A lot of these people had very, very short fuses. And it's like, I didn't want to be surrounded by that energy. Like, people think, like, this is, when you're making a film, it's a team effort. But some people just think that they are the most important person on set, and their job is more important than everyone else's. Whereas everybody's job is very equal. It might not seem like that, but to them. So there were times where you'd get yelled at just for like maybe being in the way. And as a boom op, I have to be on set, and like, you got to be there. You got to be present. You have to make sure you can't be in the way, but you got to be there to be ready. And there are other times where like I would just fight to get some machinery or something making sound to get turned off or hidden or moved further away. And nobody would really understand as much as you try and tell people. Like, if you're on a set like that, it's almost a never ending battle to get people to be quiet. And there's no respect, right? Yeah. There was no respect for the sound teams there.
And I think that is a complaint that almost every sound person has. And it's true. And I know when I teach film, as I tell people, you know, first off, where do you put your budget? Food and sound.
Yeah. Food and sound.
Food and sound.
People got to eat.
If people aren't fed, they're miserable. And without sound, you have no movie, right? Yeah. And yet then on set, and everyone knows that. Everyone knows that sound is the most important part of your film, because you can have a bad looking film and you'll still watch it, but you could have a bad sounding film.
You can't hear properly.
You can't stand it. It sounds amateur. Sound is the thing that you never notice until it's bad. If
your shot's blurry, it's artistic. If your sound is muffled, it's a mistake.
Yeah. And yet everyone still knowing that, they still are impatient and they give 2 hours to the lighting department and 5 minutes to the sound department.
Oh yeah, always. Yeah. And I mean, working on your sets was always nice and easy.
Thank you.
I found just
I'm going to put that at the front
better
of the
interview.
Yeah,
I need to make that clear, because not all. I mean, I've worked on I find, okay, so on both ends of the spectrum, I haven't worked on the high end million dollar, like many $1 million, multi-million dollar productions, but indie productions, sound is often respected. Maybe because we were like, yeah, this is how much we need to be paid, et cetera, so we're respected in that sense. Mid-tier, there was no respect. And then I'm sure when you get up into Hollywood studio shoots, like these studios are designed to be quiet most of the time, and sound is then probably once again respected, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's just as hard up there.
And I think also then at that point, then the AD is being super respected, and they understand the sound.
I always found it very useful to get on very friendly terms with the AD as soon as possible. Yeah.
So I remember that it was the end of our shoot for Dystonia. You emailed me or messaged me something. We were getting ready to record the music for the film. We were getting ready to go there, and you shot me an email and you said, hey, Julian, at what point do you think you can teach me about flash photography?
Oh, yeah.
Which I never did. I
remember asking that.
Because you went ahead and did everything yourself. You started to make the transition into photography. That's the first time I remember you saying that. Yeah. And you were taking behind the scenes shots there.
Yeah.
So where did that come from? Is it that you bought a camera and then it's kind of whatever? Or?
Okay, so going back, I used to make YouTube videos since high school. You can still see some of them. I used to make music videos. So I learned to film for YouTube.
When you try your best, but you don't succeed. When you
I would record, I would make the whole production, I would make covers of music. I would sing, I would make the entire production, the whole thing, and then I would film myself playing to it for the YouTube videos. So this was like me using a camera. I always had a camera in my hands, like small DSLRs, et cetera, et cetera. So because of that, I would travel and bring a camera with me and take photos just for fun, just to have. And I always found myself just like kind of gravitating towards that side of this media world, whatever. And just having a technical mind, you know, as a sound engineer, et cetera, I just understood cameras. It was easy, you know, over time. And then I think like as I was working on some film sets, I would bring my camera with me and I would start taking BTS photos. And I would be like, yeah, this is part of my sound package. Like you get free behind the scenes photos while I'm standing around. Because
You never did that for me.
yeah, this was after. I'm sorry. I wish I would have started a little earlier. But I went on a traveling movie, like a shot at like a traveling line down the west coast of the
Oh,
US.
I know this one.
Yeah. And this was pretty much the first time I brought the camera with me. And this was mostly just to document the travels and everything, but we were shooting a movie. So I was like, okay, I'm going to shoot the people around me. And I was shooting BTS photos of the entire production. So I was like, yeah, this is fun. I don't mind doing it because like as a sound engineer, you do find yourself standing around, waiting around a lot. Like you set up and then you wait until it's time to film. But sometimes the camera could take half an hour to film. Like on these other films, these couple $1 million budget films, like it would take like maybe an hour to set up a shot. So we'd be sitting and waiting. I don't know, the photography side just slowly but surely picked up. I took some portraits, some headshots for some musicians at McGill. I did some events. I shot a couple of event, like, I don't know, galas, things like that. And yeah, I just started just doing more photography than sound. It was just giving me more like ways to cure my boredom, I guess. If I didn't have like a sound gig, I'd find a photography gig. It's like, this is all comes down to the not sitting at a desk kind of thing again. Like I just do whatever I could to keep myself busy.
But I also think as freelancers, we always have to try to find new ways to monetize our passions.
Yeah. Develop multiple skills. And exactly. I think we all do this as freelancers.
I mean, hence me starting a podcast, right? I mean, this is clearly to make money.
Yeah, for sure.
100%.
Millions. Yeah.
There's been two kind of photographers, and I know you don't just do photography at this point, but there's been two photographers that I've known since they started photography and who both blew up. This kind of has been something that I've always reflected on as to why I didn't pursue photography as a full-on career, more like a hobby, is because I just didn't crave and eat it up the same way that I think you both did.
Do I crave and eat it up? Or this is making me think about how I view myself as a photographer in quotes. Like it's almost, maybe it's imposter syndrome or something. Like I don't make a lot of money shooting like gig to gig kind of things, like headshots, events. Like I do it, I've done it, and I never, like, knock on wood, I never screw them up because I guess I'm a professional photographer. But there's where the imposter syndrome comes in. Like right now I'm shooting social media videos. Like, does that make me a professional photographer, or does it make me a content creator, or does it make me like a TikToker or an Instagrammer or something, you know?
Well, that's great. That's a great segue into that topic. So you, because soon after you started doing photography and video, I know that you did, and I know you're saying you already had your YouTube channel and you were doing music videos. I know that you did one that I saw was the one with Lady Gaga and but you did with Nicole Araj.
Tell
me something,
Star is Born,
girl.
Yeah. I'm at the deep end. That one?
Yeah, that one.
So my
that's
singing
the first
voice
one.
is
Oh, it was gorgeous.
In the shadow, in the shadow.
But at a certain point, you switched over into talking about cameras. Yeah. And I remember you and I, again, we started kind of at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm at 500 subscribers right now, and you were at like 40,000 or something like that.
On YouTube, I have 15,000.
15,000? Okay, I'm sorry. You started dabbling in tech reviews.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And why did you start doing that?
Well, like as I mentioned, it's the the technical side of my mind. I have it. It's there. So I just know how to talk about this stuff. How to make a YouTube video about it, this is a different story. Like figuring out like how to lay things out and make an engaging video. But knowing the technical side and why I like a product, I can talk about, right? So that's the reason for those 15,000 subscribers is really because, well, keep in mind these 15K, this is over like 15 years of YouTubing.
Right.
So like a good 10
It's from your music.
it's from music.
Okay,
and now I
yeah.
just completely changed the channel, which is scary. Like, is it the right thing to add?
Yeah, and a lot of the times they warn, quote unquote, against that because
Yeah.
people subscribe to you for a reason, and then they still want whatever they subscribed for.
You're kind of like starting from scratch.
Yeah.
Or you might lose people. It might damage your channel. I don't know if it did, if people have unsubscribed, I'm sure.
I did.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I made 2 gear videos about Sony A7 II. Why you should buy a Sony A7 II in 2019 or 2020. Why you should buy the Sony A7 II a year later in
It was already old at that point.
I know what you're thinking. This camera is freaking ancient. Yes, I know. It came out in 2014. 2000. So that's kind of a reason why those 2 videos went viral. And the second one, I just kind of said the same thing in the video, but a little updated because I had continued to use that camera. But I was like, maybe I want to capitalize on those views from last year. This is all part of being a content creator and just doing whatever I felt like doing in the moment, right? So from music to camera gear, and I was just like into cameras, I was into photography, so I was like, why not just make videos about photography, right? It's just what I know. So I did, but I never like fully grasped or like latched onto that. You know, I just like, it's mostly like just like trying things out and figuring out, like throwing pancakes at the wall and hoping they stick.
Yeah, I remember you were doing those videos of how you do these shots, and you would be like doing these like like these freeze frames of you.
Well, there's
throwing
another
things
like
out of the,
I mean that's the next step in the progression is creative self portraits, and this was like this was in the midst of the pandemic where like we were all isolated in our own little boxes, as in like apartments.
Yes.
My apartment was, I considered it a box. There were little windows, you know, not a lot of light, etc.
Mine was a literal box.
Oh,
I spent all my rent money on this podcast gear. So,
Where did you put the box?
I don't have a good answer for that. I'm not an improv artist. Come on.
I'm me neither. So I had booked about maybe like $10,000 worth of gigs in like 2 months, 3 months, something like that. And I lost all of those right at the beginning of the pandemic. So like as a freelancer, you know, it's like, it's volatile, right? Like $10,000 in a couple of months is pretty good
It's volatile.
I was never making that money.
Volatile in the best of times.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So I lost all that and like, okay, now I still have my camera. That's great. Then I just decided to like get creative in my apartment, and I was shooting like floating things. I mean, the first thing was just like, I stuck my camera behind a bookshelf and like took a picture of me like pulling a book out. So it was like easy, but I would shoot the picture. I would take maybe a day to like figure out how to make this photo. I would take the picture and then I would create a little behind the scenes video. And I was doing vertical. This is right in the beginning of TikTok, and TikTok was booming because of the pandemic. Everyone was like using it. And I considered these the golden days of TikTok, where everybody saw the same videos. Like everybody was doing the same trends. It was like, it was fun. It was actually really fun to use TikTok.
Felt more community based, I think, at that point.
Very, yeah. And I posted one. It got, you know, I posted it and I just like went to bed, and I woke up the next day and I had like 200,000 views. I was like, whoa, this is cool. People are seeing my stuff. This is the first time I've ever seen this many views on something I shot. And this is my photography. Wow, people are seeing this. So I did it again. The next couple of days, I was like thinking about a new idea, shot a new idea. And I was just like looking around my apartment during the entire pandemic, figuring out like, how can I use this as a prop in my photo? And I would try and come up with something every 2 days or 3 days or something and post a video. And it was fun in the beginning. It was fun because people were watching it. I was getting good views. But the problem with those portraits is it was a lot of work. And people were getting millions of views on TikTok just by like setting up their camera and saying something funny and taking like 10 minutes to film this video. And I was taking up to 2 days to film one video. And I was getting like maybe 20, 30,000 views, 100,000, whatever. So like I was realizing that growth, everybody grows different rates and paces, but like this was taking a long time. It was a lot of work. And I was starting to burn out.
And so at what point did you, when you took your first dog photo or video, photo, it would start off with photo, video is recent.
Yeah, videos recent.
So when you did your first dog photo, was this an idea that you had as a potential for a new direction for your socials, or is it, was it something that just kind of happened and then you saw great reception and you enjoyed doing it and therefore you kept going?
Yeah, it kind of happened. This was after all those creative portraits were over, I was kind of okay with just posting anything again, like not really focused on that specific, like what people knew me for. So I started posting anything. Like I was just like going out shooting street photography. I was doing what other creators on YouTube were inspiring me to do with a GoPro on their chest, going out shooting street photography and talking to the camera and whatever, talking to the GoPro, talking to themselves, I guess you could say, on the street. You probably look like a weirdo when you're passing people, like just talking. Yeah. But what happened was I decided for photography, just for the sake of getting better as a photographer, challenge myself to a 30-day photo challenge. I was like, I'm going to take one photo per day for 30 days and post it on Instagram no matter what. I didn't have to do TikTok or anything. It was just like, take that picture, post on Instagram. But the catch was I could only press the shutter once, like only press down one time. That was the shot. So if it was out of focus, if the exposure was off, that was it. So, and I had to post it. So a bad photo, post it anyways. I got about like 11 days in. And at that point I was like, I can make a YouTube video out of this. So I was filming myself taking all of these photos. And about like 11 days, I found a puppy with a group of people sitting around a little cute, like 3-month-old golden retriever. Classic. Walked up and I was like, can I just take a photo of your dog for this 30-day project I'm doing? And they're like, yeah, sure, no problem. But it was so cute. I was like, let's see what I can edit with this. Like, I want to do it now. I'm not going to wait. So I put it together, a little video, and I posted it. It was 30 seconds of this little interaction of me walking up to this dog. And same thing. I woke up a day later and there were 2 million views on TikTok. My biggest video ever. Like, whoa.
People love puppies.
What did I just do? So next day I was like, what should I take a photo of now? Yeah. I'm like, oh, there's another puppy. I walk up, same video, million views. Like, okay, something's working. And at this point, I'm letting social media guide me as opposed to like what I want to do.
And were you seeing those convert to subscribers right away, or did it take a little bit of time for people to realize that that's something? Yeah.
Like over time, the videos would generate more followers, but even that first video, follow. Like I would like refresh and see like new followers every second, or like 3 followers per second, almost. So at the peak of your like viral video, you're getting like 3 followers per second.
Jeez,
that's crazy.
Here you're doing photos of yourself for 2 days, and you're getting 20,000, which is still quite good.
Yeah.
Do you think you would have been more inclined to keep going with that if it was at the same numbers that you're doing now?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I was also starting to get people ask me, like I had even traveled to BC to shoot creative portraits for other people. Like people were recognizing the work as like artistic work,
right,
and wanted to hire me to shoot for them.
And so that direction was probably more clear of using your social media to get work opportunities, because it's showcasing your talent as a photographer. Has that happened with the dog approach? Because unless people are hiring you to take photos of their pets, which I don't know how much they're willing to pay for that. Is that direction less about getting gigs and more so getting sponsorship, travel opportunity, exposure, and all that kind of stuff. So how's that switch been for you? Dealing with potential brands and sponsors, or anything you can share about that?
I'm sure you could figure it out. Whatever content you're creating, if you can figure out how to integrate brands into your content, then you can make brand deals. So I could have probably done that with creative portraits. I think in the dog niche, I'm now at the point where I'm figuring out the brand thing. So I took this direction, and this was like what was working, and I was enjoying it, and I'm still enjoying it a lot. It's like, honestly, me going out to meet dogs and shoot photos of them is my therapy. There are so many moments where like I'm just not feeling good. I just don't even want to create content. But we all go through this. It's like roller coasters. It's like sometimes I'm like so down to shoot and edit. Other times it's like I don't want to do anything. It's motivation, whatever, discipline building. Don't have it, but I'll go out anyways. Just find just the push I need to go out. And I go, and then I come back after meeting 3 or 4 dogs, and I feel so good. It's like, it's therapy, you know, going out to do this. Dogs are crazy. Dogs are so therapeutic.
But I think that social media influence creators, all that stuff, a lot of the times that ends up being a very solitary gig.
It does.
You know?
It is.
And admittedly, that's partly why I'm starting this,
nice.
Because not only is it hard sometimes to always be not only the executor of content, but also the person who's thinking about all of it. Because ultimately, it's all just you. It's your channel. It's your whatever.
Yeah.
You also then have to hold yourself accountable for all that stuff. But if you're setting up a conversation with a cool person, then a lot of that, I mean, sure, it took 2 hours to set this up.
It's worth it.
But then you end up being motivated to create and to see
Definitely.
through.
It is a very solitary job. It's like, it's crazy because there are so many now, especially with TikTok and Instagram Reels booming, so many creators. It's like huge, but you're still so alone in this world of content creation. And part of that aloneness is like figuring it out on your own too, because if you don't have a lot of content creator friends who are at the same point as you in their content creation career, then it's all like you got to figure it out on your own. You have to figure out how to make money. You have to figure out like what's the algorithm like favoring now. You know, all of these things you gotta learn on your own, and there's no one there to guide you. I guess if you're in some place where there's a huge concentration of creators like LA or something, you can probably go to meetups and talk and figure that out. Go in forums, whatever. But there's a lot you just have to figure out. Yeah. But yeah, if we circle back a little bit to the brand thing, like that's what I'm currently figuring out, which is cool. Like I've all this content, by the way, we're talking about, I haven't made any money from yet.
Really?
I make my money still doing gigs.
Really?
Photography gigs.
I didn't know that.
Film gigs when I'm traveling. Yeah.
Oh.
So content creation, well, let me fix, like I've made $1,000 in the last 2 years.
Solid.
On that. However,
no wonder you bought me my latte.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. It's an expensive latte.
It was an oat milk latte. That's like, that runs you like $6-7. So.
No, but I'm like, now I'm at a tipping point at this point. It's changing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so past sponsorship deals, I know that you've had, I saw you did one with Aperture.
Yep.
And so that was really cool. You did a catwalk, I believe it was.
Dog walk.
Was it a dog walk? I thought it was a catwalk. It was dog still?
Well, there was a cat.
There was a cat.
There's one cat
Maybe
in the series.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So
but
dog walk. Okay.
It was just a hairless cat being taken on a walk. But
yeah, that was terrifying.
That was great though. The eyes. I love cat eyes. Like, so cool.
But hairless cats scare me. But
yeah, I know.
So you've got that. Now, a lot of, and maybe this is just me because I always think about the next potential 3 steps.
Yeah. Maybe you can help me.
You got it. Is this where business is happening?
Let's do it.
It happens on the golf course and on the Nerdy Filmmaker podcast.
You golf?
No.
Oh shit.
What the hell was I going to say? Oh yeah. So Ideally, or sometimes if someone has like an entrepreneurial mindset about going about these kinds of things, they're also planning for what comes after the social media. The social media reach being like the vehicle to build something else.
Yeah.
You know. So do you have any ideas or plans for what this might lead to outside of travel?
Yeah, I really want this to go. This is going to involve travel. Definitely. Like it's travel, dogs, those are two of the pillars. Like I like to consider social media, my channels should be built on maybe 2 or 3 pillars, right? I do want this direction, the channel to go in the direction of like showing my audience wildlife conservation, animal welfare, things like that. And as I travel, I think it'll be a great way to meet and connect with people and film videos. It's despite it being animals, it's going to be a very different type of content that I film. So I have to figuring this out on my own, how to like make a good engaging video for TikTok and Instagram that involves like a good story about people doing good things for the planet, for animals on the planet, things like that.
Awesome.
So yeah, I do have those steps coming, but right now I'm doing what I can, and I am continuing to build the channel so that it can take that direction when it's time. Yeah, that's more of a goal in the next couple of years as I am able to meet these people. But currently, I would also like to make money from that channel. So they're very two different things, but I think I can make it work, combine these things. Just work out brand deals, start advertising like dog, treat foods. I'll just connect with brands that do create hopefully sustainable and healthy natural foods for dogs, things like that. Because these days that's what people want for their animals. So those are maybe the 2 steps. You said 3 steps. I like current step. Next step is brand deals to create a business to sustain my life as a traveling photographer, dog photographer. And then the 3rd step will be, this is how I see it now.
I like that.
Yeah. I'm going to have to be careful too. Like now that the brand deals are coming in, things like that, I have to also continue to create content that I enjoy making, as opposed to just stuff that's going to make me money all the time. Or else it'll just become another one of those channels that only advertise things all the time. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You know what? All of the knowledge that I've gained over the last few years, like content creation from the start in YouTube, like in high school, I'm now using all of those skills today. So, there are people who I'm troubled sometimes because I'm thinking like, I'm trying so many things. Like, can I not be a master of one thing? And like, do I have to be a jack of all trades, but master of none? It's a tough one because like you see some people who are masters of one thing and they're like already so successful at 25, 26 years old, doing the one thing that they do. And it's like so clear cut to them, or it looks like it from outside perspective. And for me, and I think for a lot of people, freelancers, it's like trying so many different things, being kind of good at everything, but not like the master at everything. And now I'm 31. And now is the point in my life where I'm actually realizing that it's cool to have all of these skills, and all, like even the sound mixing coming into, like, now the reason there's good sound, like I'm very focused on, I always make sure that my TikToks have great sound. I need to hear my voice. I need to hear the stranger's voice. So all of these skills that I've built over time, and I'm still using them.
Yeah. How's my voice sounding right now?
Very good. It's actually deep. I kind of like the way that, I should just get closer to the mic.
We should just get closer like this.
Yeah, when you get closer to mics, usually your voice gets deeper.
Yeah. I've got a very whiny voice. That's why I'm sitting so close, is to try to combat that.
No, but your voice in my headphones has been deeper than my voice.
Oh, really?
Now I'm speaking in a deeper. Can you tell?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, is there anything that you're doing now whether it's like work-wise or even workflow-wise, that that you wish that you didn't have to do anymore?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, this is also what I'm
Everything
trying
but
to figure
waking up and eating.
I wish I could just, yeah, exactly. How does the money come in? I don't have to lift a finger, you know? I would prefer to be always out shooting photos and shooting content. If I can get someone to edit for me, anybody, if anybody, like I would love to hire an editor soon so that I can send, you know, the footage I shoot to them. That way I'll be able to pump out more content, because I spend most of my time editing. Like going out and shooting is the smallest piece of the pie.
Yeah.
It's like it's the editing part that takes the longest. So that's where I spend most of my time, and that's where I'm most back to the sitting at a desk thing. That's where I find the most resistance. I think because of that feeling of resistance, that's the thing I should cover first. So ideally an editor would be great to get that side of things done. And then I could also like start shooting more content like YouTube videos and things like that and vlogs and send that to an editor as well. I'd love to do that so that I don't have to sit down and edit all the time. Manager would be cool, but I think I want to wait and continue to figure it out on myself, pitching brands, just learn how to do this on my own first, and then hire a manager or an agent to start doing that for me.
Do you have any rituals that keep you motivated, that get you up out of bed and ready for the day?
Yeah, I mean, I still have a hard time rolling out of bed. I like to lay in bed until like 8 or 9.
That's a good.
Maybe 10.
That's a good time.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I've told my producer that I never want to shoot earlier than 8 ever again.
Solid. What if you need a sunrise?
Then we're gonna fake the sunrise.
Just
Just CGI. Put it in.
All you got to do is shoot sunset and then reverse the footage.
There you go.
Have the actors act in reverse. We're going here. I like yoga. I do yoga every other day. That definitely keeps me happy, I think, because it's a mix of body movement and mindfulness. Because, you know, thoughts, just like so many thoughts come through. It's like, it's hard to process everything. Yoga is a nice way to slow down. I actually have a membership at a place. I walk to the yoga studio, sit down surrounded by a bunch of people who also have the same goal in mind, is to just like relax for an hour. It's not always the most relaxing, but the first like 5 minutes is a great like meditation. And then
the rest of it is torture.
Yeah. Then it's heat. But every single time I leave a yoga studio, a yoga session, I'm like, if I'm here, I'm there. If I'm there, I'm like, you know, there, still there. There's no like, I never come out of a yoga session feeling worse than when I went in. So that's definitely an important thing for me. And wherever I travel, I try and find a yoga studio or something to do there.
Are you more of a movie watcher or a game player?
It used to be a game player. Now I'm definitely more of a movie watcher or a series watcher.
Okay. Well, then I'll ask you the question. You can answer for both.
Okay.
What's the piece of film or game or game that has been the most inspiring, and which ones have been your guilty pleasure?
Lego Star Wars. No, I just recently played that game just for fun. I mean, my guilty pleasure, Ratchet and Clank, PlayStation.
Nice.
Like from the PS2 days.
Nice.
I mean, this is a guilty pleasure. It's not, I don't ever feel guilty because it's just such a fun game.
Yeah, maybe
Inspiring?
guilty pleasure is the wrong thing, but
my favorite game. Let's just say my favorite game. My favorite series of all time is Ratchet and Clank, and I'm dying to play the PS5 version now because it's probably. At one point, I found myself playing too many video games. Like I used to play Rocket League so much. I was addicted. I used to play 6 hours a day. Yeah, which during my masters, which is like
it's detrimental.
Dude, I mean, talk about problems. That was one of them. Like, it's like spent so much time doing that when I could have been like learning or practicing piano, like recording.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Rocket League, movies. I want to say something impressive, but I just don't have that. Like right now, I'm watching The Last of Us, which I love. It's great.
That game was a masterpiece, and now the show so far is a masterpiece.
Yeah, they're just nailing it.
Yeah.
But this is mainstream stuff. Like I want to say some kind of indie, undercover,
HBO
underground
has
something.
always made the best shows.
Yeah.
IMO. Sopranos is one of my, if not my favorite series of all time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And the Watchmen I haven't watched series. That was really good.
Yeah. I mean, as a kid growing up, I loved the Star Wars prequels series. Because I was young, I was impressionable.
Yes.
And those are my all-time favorite movies. Like I'll still watch them. I still love them because I grew up watching them.
Yeah.
And like the old Star Wars films, I love those.
Yeah.
And the new Star Wars series, some of them are good. Some of them, like I really enjoy. Yeah, I'm a Star Wars nerd.
I stopped after Rogue One. I didn't watch past that, I don't think.
Should watch Andor. It's a slow burn. It's still Disney-fied a little bit, but it's not like the other ones. But Mandalorian's great. Yeah, Mandalorian's pretty solid. Boba Fett was garbage. Sorry, guys.
You ain't working on that set.
Oh no, I'm done with that. Unless they got dogs, I'll go.
It's got your photo of the Boba Fett's dogs.
The biggest, fattest dogs. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Very cool.
Not the most inspiring TV and film bit on your podcast, but I'm setting the bar
real low.
Yeah, there we go.
Last question for you.
Okay.
What's for lunch?
Oh, you tell me.
Oh, we're going to get some lunch?
Yeah.
Oh my God. We're going to go get some lunch. Keegan, Robin, thank you very much for joining today. This is fun. You want to shout out your socials?
Yeah, on Instagram, Hey Keeg, HEYKEEG. TikTok's Hey Keegs with an S on the end of that. Keegan Robin on YouTube.
Was Hey Keegs on Instagram taken?
Yeah.
That's a fraud. We're coming after you.
I'm still trying to figure that out.
We're coming after them.
Yeah. Awesome. It's too late now. So.
Yeah, I know. Cool bean.
Thanks so
my
much.
friend.
Yeah. That was fun.
All right. Bye.
How do you end it?
Sounds like a good end to me.
Yeah, that was good.
All right, cool.
Ooh, that was loud in my ears. Oh.
That was Keegan Robin. And since we recorded that podcast, Keegan has in fact found representation. And he has also found himself an editor, so he's going to be producing even more content at a faster rate. If you want to check out his videos, I've left a link to all of his social media in the show notes. And if you are enjoying these episodes, it would really help us out if you liked, shared, commented, or reviewed, depending on what platform you're watching or listening on. Thank you again for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.